This is Arjun Nimmala, a high school shortstop out of Florida who's most likely gonna go top 15 in tomorrow's MLB draft. He has great bat skills, really good power for a middle infielder, and has a pretty good glove at shortstop. In his senior season, he had a slash line of 479, 573, and 877 with 8 doubles, 3 triples, 5 home runs, and 9 stolen bases, on the way to winning the Gatorade Player of the Year for the state of Florida, who's known to produce some great baseball talent. Nimmala, who's one of the youngest players in the draft at 17 years old, is also committed to Florida State University, and depending on his signing bonus and draft position, we'll see if he goes to Florida State or goes directly to the minors. But what if I told you baseball wasn't even Arjun's first sport? Growing up in Tampa Bay as the son of 2 Indian immigrants, Arjun played sports such as basketball and soccer, but every year when he went back to India with his family, he would play cricket. Cricket, like baseball, is a bat and ball sport. However, there are some differences between the two. Unlike baseball, where the pitcher directly throws towards the direction of the hitter, cricket involves a bounce in between, and this bounce affects the direction and movement of the ball. Baseball is played on a diamond with limited space for where the ball can be in play, whereas cricket is played in an elliptical. All 360 degrees is where the batter can hit the ball and still be in play. Regardless of their differences, both sports emphasize bat speed, bat power, and hand-eye coordination. And cricket is the most popular sport in India, so these summers, playing outside, Arjun had nothing to do but play cricket, and he fell in love with the art of hitting the ball. Because he also grew up playing sports such as cricket, soccer, and basketball, Arjun was never put into super competitive or super rigorous sports programs at such a young age, such as travel ball. And because his parents opened him up to a bunch of sports like soccer, basketball, and even cricket in the summers, he was, I think, less stressed and had less pressure because he didn't have to deal with the seriousness of these teams at such a young age like many baseball players do now. After he became fully committed to a baseball career around the age of 12 or 13, Arjun grew into his frame and developed as a player. And at the age of 14, he was discovered at a travel ball tournament by the Florida State pitching coach. After getting other members of the Florida State scouting team to get a look at him, Arjun was signed and committed to Florida State. And in the coming years, when he started popping off at national tournaments and making a name for himself, colleges were very interested. But Arjun had already committed to Florida State before no one else knew about him, and there was no other competitors. And as his high school career came to an end, Arjun put up great numbers and impressed more scouts at tournaments. And that brings us to today, the MLB draft. And one thing that scouts rave about him is his power. And we know with shortstops, if they have power, they're very highly valued on the free agency market, and they can make themselves a great career. He's projected to hit around 25 to 35 home runs in his prime big league seasons, similarly to guys like Xander Bogaerts, Carlos Correa, Francisco Lindor, Trevor Story, and he actually trains with Francisco Lindor in the offseason, so Arjun is on the path to becoming a good shortstop. And if not, I think he can make a great transition to third base because his defense might not be the best at shortstop, and he can still hit for great power at the hot corner. He has what it takes to be a great MLB shortstop and move up through the ranks of the minors. And given the fact that he's only still 17 years old, teams are going to value him higher because of his age and the amount of flexibility they have to work with him to make him a great player because he's so young compared to other players in the draft. And if he does successfully reach the major leagues and become a great shortstop at that level, I think this has bigger implications past baseball for both the MLB and the Indian subcontinent. India is home to over 1 billion people, and the entire country loves cricket. India is consistently one of the best nations in the cricket rankings, and they have their own domestic cricket league called the IPL, which is very popular worldwide. However, with many Indian immigrants moving over to the Western world in the early 2000s, we're seeing a boom of baseball players of Indian descent. So far in history, there's never been an Indian or Indian heritage player reach the MLB level. Rinku Singh and Dinesh Patel, 2 pitchers of the Pittsburgh Pirates organization, were close, however struggled and eventually released, and they were the subject of the movie $1 Million Arm. Kumar Rocker, the 3rd pick in last year's MLB draft, his grandparents immigrated from India, and now he's pitching in the Rangers minor league system. Rocker and Nimmala have the best shots of making it so far in history, and if they make it, it could have some pretty big significance. Although cricket will obviously still remain supreme in India, the MLB will open up a potential market of 1 billion people. The love for baseball in India will increase tremendously, and we'll see India grow as a baseball nation. We've seen the Netherlands, which has islands like Curaçao and Xander Bogaerts and other players like Chadwick Trump. They've grown as a baseball nation, and they played really well in the World Baseball Classic. But now India would uprise with these two stars, and because these two guys made it to the highest level, you now have so many more other Indian heritage boys who think they can also do it, and they'll get inspired by these two guys. There's going to be TV streaming rights deals in India to see who can get these games for the Indian population to watch. And MLB will open up a new market for fans, but also for potential players. And because cricket is such a competitive sport, to make it big in India, the MLB could even experiment by grabbing more talent from India and putting them in a position to succeed in baseball. And I know while that didn't necessarily work with the $1 million arm, I think hitting wise it could be a better option. Because the pitching and throwing motions of cricket and baseball are so drastic, the hitting consists of similar features. You have to hit the ball hard, you have to hit the ball fast, and you have to make sure the ball doesn't trick you on a spin or a change of movement. And although it does seem like there is some pressure on Arjun because you don't see a player this good of Indian descent, I think he'll move past the pressure, he'll surpass it, and he'll become a great big league player. It's not often you see shortstops of his young age possess all the talent and skill you kind of want in an ideal shortstop. He's only 17 years old, he has tons of room to grow, and whichever organization drafts him has the ability to unlock some special potential. Hope you guys enjoyed my video on the story of Arjun Nimmala from cricket to baseball and how he could have a potential impact on the Indian subcontinent regarding baseball. Bye.